Hi folks, this is Vicki at patternprincess.com. I've done a smaller swatch here of the blanket that I saw in the beginning of this video. And this is just a smaller swatch showing you the stitches. It starts off with a row of single crochet, then we have double crochets, and then some double crochet puff stitches. And then I finish it off with a row of single crochet. The blanket, as you could see, was so large. It was 80 by 90. It was for my nephew, and he is quite tall, and I thought either he could wrap it around his feet and have it snuggle up by his neck, or he could use it as a bedspread as well. So anyways, because it has this nice 10 stitch double crochet stitches edge on each side, I did not add a border. And then also in the front, I should say in the first row and the last row, is a row of single crochet, so it just finishes it off nicely. So this blanket is without a border. I do have multiple sizes of this. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to get going on this. It does have some special stitches throughout. The yarn that I used for the crochet pattern is a number 3 weight, and it was from Lion Brand yarn. It's a mandala yarn, and I used a 5.5 millimeter hook, and I do have, I think it's 5 or 6 sizes. I don't remember how many sizes. Let me just check. Yes, there are 6 sizes, all the way from a 40 by 40 up to the 80 by 90. So I'll have everything detailed in the free pattern that's on the website. Right now we're going to get our slip knot on our hook. I'm just going to make a circle and wind the ends around. Then I put my hook through. Grab one end and put it through, and there's all kinds of ways that people get their slip knot on their hook. All right, so now this pattern here is going to be a multiple of 13 plus 1. So today for this sample, I'm going to do 37, which is 13 plus 13, 26, plus 11 is 37. That's what multiples mean when you see that. So we're just going to do a chain stitch. You yarn over, you draw the yarn through, and you just keep yarning over and drawing the yarn through the loops, okay? I'm going to continue to do this until I have 37 chains on my hook, and I'll meet you right back. Okay, now if I have counted right, I should have 37 chains. Okay, and the very first row, what we're going to do is we're going to skip this first chain right here, and in the second chain right here, we are going to work just a single crochet. So you insert your hook, yarn over, draw it through, and yarn over, draw through 2 loops. First single crochet is made, and now we go to the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, draw it through, yarn over, draw through 2 loops. And we continue to do this all the way across in every single stitch. You just insert your hook, yarn over, draw it through, and then yarn over, draw through 2 loops, all the way across. And you notice how it's kind of curving, or curling, I should say, in the end. Don't worry about how it's going to curl up, how it's going to look funny. Don't worry about that, especially if you're, oops, I'm too busy talking. Especially if you're a new crocheter, don't worry about that. It all straightens out in the end. This will be just fine. And make sure that you do check your gauge if you want to have the exact same blanket with the exact same rows and stitches, because everybody's gauge is a little bit different. You might have to go up or down a hook size to get the right gauge. Okay. So I'm just going to continue to do a single crochet across the whole thing. Here's where I am so far. And then when I get done to the other end here, I will meet you on row 2. Okay, I have just finished row 1. I have all of my single crochet stitches done. Seeing if you take a look at it, it does lay a little bit wonky. Don't worry about that, okay? We're going to turn it. And then I have 2 different ways to start this next row. You could do because we're going to be doing double crochets, you could do a chain 2 or 3. Some people do a chain 2, some do a chain 3. And then you can just double crochet in that next stitch. I'm just going to show you how that'll look. I did not use this method because I didn't have a border on this blanket. I didn't want it to stick out kind of like a sore thumb. See how there's just a little bit extra gap right here? It's not much, but when you have a whole row of it, it kind of shows a little bit. So what I did, you can absolutely use this method. You could use the chain 2 or you could use the chain 3. what I did is, I don't even know if it's a stitch. This is what I called it, like a stacked single crochet. So I did a yarn over, which doesn't count as anything, or I should say I did a chain 1. Yarn over and come through and do a chain 1. Doesn't count as anything. Then I just inserted my hook into that first stitch, yarn over, and I just do a chain stitch. Okay, now in this loop, it'd be like the lower, once your stitches are going this way, it'd be like that lower left loop of the chain stitch. I insert my hook, yarn over, draw it through, and yarn over, just do another, draw through the 2 loops. That's another single crochet. So it's just 2 single crochet. Okay, now I'm going to do 9 more double crochet, because that's going to count as your first double crochet. I'm going to do 9 more double crochet. So I yarn over, insert my hook, draw the yarn through, yarn over, draw it through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. Do another one, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, draw it through, yarn over, come through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. So now we have a total of 1, 2, 3. We're going to have a total of 10 double crochet. Okay. Whoopsies. 4, 5, and my whole ball of yarn is coming with me. 6, 7, 8, 9, and we'll count just to make sure. 10. So let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to skip a stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch. In the next stitch, we're going to work what is called a double crochet puff stitch. And it's kind of like doing a double crochet half the way and then finishing it off after you've gotten it like three half double crochets on there. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, draw it through. Yarn over, draw through 2 loops. Now you have 2 loops on the hook. We're going to do this 2 more times. So yarn over, insert our hook into the same stitch, yarn over, draw it through, yarn over, draw through 2 loops. Now we have 3 stitches on the hook, loops on the hook. Yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, draw it through, yarn over, go through 2 loops. We now have 4 stitches, 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and go through all 4. And I do find when you go through all 4, if you have a little bit of tension on your loops, it helps the hook come through much easier. And then we're going to do our chain 1 to close it off. Then I'm going to do chain 1, and then I'm going to do another set of the double crochet puff stitch. Okay, so yarn over, insert the hook in the same stitch, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, go through 2 more loops, and 1 more time. 4 loops on the hook. See how I'm kind of tugging at that? And you turn your hook, so it's down a little bit, and I have my left finger kind of holding the yarn taut, and it goes right through. Yarn over to close it off. Okay, now we're going to skip a stitch, and all we're going to do is 10 double crochet. So we can do that. That's really easy. The hardest part of the pattern you just did. And the rows repeat after row 3, because we're just setting our whole thing up right now. And after row 3, I hardly, to be honest, really hardly didn't count. I would just eyeball it to make sure it looked okay, and that's all I did. So I'm going to do 10 double crochets here, and then we're going to do our double crochet puff stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, should have 4 more. 7, 8, 9, 10, And I'll show you how it's looking before I do the puff stitch. This is how it's looking so far. And it looks like it's a little bit higher here, but it's really, I think it's more of an illusion. It really evens out just fine as I'm working the whole pattern. I did not have any problem with that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now what we're going to do is we're going to skip a stitch. And in the next stitch, we yarn over and we work our first double crochet puff stitch. So yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, insert a hook again. And keep them loose. They don't have to be tight. As you can see, I kind of pull up the loop to about the same length. Yarn over, draw through all, yarn over to and do a chain stitch to close, and then 1 more chain stitch. Yarn over in the same stitch. Whoopsies. That happens. Well, it's going to take all day here. Okay. Let's start again. All right. Go through 2 loops. Yarn over. Draw through 2 loops again. And 1 more time. Okay. And yarn over. Draw through all 4 loops. And chain 1 to close. And now I'm going to skip that next stitch. And all we're going to do is a double crochet all the way across. And it should be 10 double crochets. So I'm going to continue to do my double crochet across, and then I'm going to join you on row 3, which is our repeating row. Okay, we have our second row done, and the puff stitches don't look very much on this side, but if you turn it around, see that it shows up more on the other side. So it's kind of like every other side it turns up better, because if you even look at the sample here, this side is kind of pushed that way more. This side is pushed this way more. And you can make your puff stitches bigger if you wanted to go a couple more rounds. You could do a 4 or 5 double crochet puff stitch. Just add more puffs in there if you wanted it bigger and puffier. I think I'm going to be doing another blanket. I can see that coming. Different colors and whatnot. So anyways, I probably maybe shorter in between the puff stitches too. We'll see. So this is what it looks like. I just turned my work, and now we're going to do row 3. Row 3 is the repeating row. And again, you could do a chain 2 or a chain 3, or you could do what I'm calling a stacked single crochet. I really have no idea. I've looked and looked, and I don't know what the technical term is. It sounds appropriate. So we're going to do a chain 1, doesn't count as anything. Insert our hook, gosh darn, there we go, into that first stitch. Yarn over, bring it through, do a single crochet. Then into that leg right here, this leg of the single crochet, we're going to insert our hook, draw the yarn through, and complete that second single crochet, which this all counts as 1 double crochet. And then we're just going to do 10 double crochets across, or I should say 9 more double crochet, because that first one counts as a double crochet. So I don't want to misspeak here and mess you up. And then we just, and really essentially, when I say I didn't really count, you just crochet up to the puff stitch. Okay, so it's just really easy. Double crochets, it goes fast. It's a fast way to make a blanket. However, the blanket I just got through making was, you know, you kind of get sick of it when it's that big. I'm just going to say. But it's beautiful. And he's going to love it. All right. So I've done all my double crochets up to the puff stitch. Skip the puff stitch. Work inside of that chain stitch right here. We're going to skip to this chain stitch. Now we're just going to do our puff stitches. So we're going to yarn over and do our first puff stitch. There's 1, 2, 3. Bring the yarn through all 4. Chain 1 to close. Chain 1 again, and go right back into the chain 1 space and work our next puff stitch. Yarn over to bring it through all the loops. Chain 1 to close. You see how fast that goes? Skip our next puff stitch and work into the double crochet stitch right here. Now we just do 10 double crochet. So I'm going to do the 10 double crochet. I'll meet you at the puff stitch to make sure that you have that so you can work through it. But this is all that it is. It's a very simple pattern. Okay, I have done my double crochets up to my next puff stitch. This is how we're looking so far. This is my next puff stitch. We skip the first puff stitch and we work inside of the chain stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, and draw our yarn through 2 loops. Do it again, and then one last time. And then draw yarn through all 4 loops. Chain 1 to close, and chain 1 again. And then we're going to do one more puff stitch. And then yarn over, draw through all 4 loops, chain 1 to close. Okay, and then we're going to skip this next puff stitch, skip this right here. And right here we're going to work a double crochet, and then in each stitch across. And then I'll make sure I show you where I place the stitch when I do the last double crochet, so that it looks nice on the edge. Okay, so I'm just going to stick it right in through the 2 loops of that top single crochet stitch. And also what I did on the blanket is I did one more row of single crochet at the very end, because I didn't have a border, just to make sure it looks polished. Now I'm up to that right here. You see that? So if I stopped here, number 1, you can count your stitches and see you'd only have 9 double crochet. But right here is that beginning single crochet. So I yarn over and I go right through these top 2 loops right here. And then you finish off your double crochet. And this is how it's looking. So we have the puff stitches that stick out this way. And then when I turn it, see, this one kind of doesn't stick out and this one does stick out. But this is how the blanket is done. And this is a little bit bigger swatch of the pattern. All right. Please make sure you stop by the website, patternprincess.com, to check out the free pattern. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy your time crocheting.